There are awesome mountains in France, there are ridiculous mountains in France, and then there are the best mountains in France. The Mont Blanc with its jagged-toothed neighbors is in a league of its own, and there is no better place to access this European all-star than from the Chamonix Mont Blanc Valley. In this video, we are looking at the 10 best things you gotta check out when visiting the largest mountain in Europe. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hands down best way to explore these mountains is with the help of the Chamonix Mont Blanc multi-day pass. Some people complain that it's too expensive, but when you look at the math, it is a fantastic deal. A 3-day pass costs only 125 euros, where you get access to the region's entire arsenal of lifts, trains, and public transportation. Look at it this way. A single trip to the highest point accessible by cable car is going to cost you 81 euros, so for an extra 44, you can use all these services as many times as you want. If we would have paid single entry for the things in this video, it would have cost us 304 euros, so for the price of a Taylor Swift concert, you can't go wrong with this pass. Just look at the cable car in the left of this shot getting up to the Aiguille du Midi. This is what a world record-setting lift looks like. With 2,807 meters of vertical gain, bringing you up to a max height of 3,842 meters, the Aiguille du Midi is unarguably the most ridiculous viewpoint not just in France, but in the entirety of Europe. Even just rewatching this while I edit is giving me goosebumps. What they've built up at the top is truly remarkable, and the experience of being this high without breaking a sweat is absolutely awesome. There are legendary features sprinkled around every corner, including this glass box called Le Pas dans le Vide that's 1,000 meters vertically above the bottom. And that's what I love the most, is that all of this is included in your pass. No extra money for a photo in the glass box or to use the Swarovski viewing lenses. We came up here twice, once in the afternoon and once on the first lift at 7:30 a.m., and I would highly recommend coming up here early. This is the most popular thing to do at the Mont Blanc, so if you go early, there are far fewer people, which means there are no lines for the Pas dans le Vide or grabbing a ride back down to Chamonix. The summit of Le Brévent sits on the opposite side of the valley from the Aiguille du Midi, and this is where you're going to get the best view of Le Mont Blanc. It's exactly like getting your distance to get the best view of the Eiffel Tower. Le Mont Blanc is the same. From up here at 2,525 meters, the 360-degree viewpoint is another easy spot to access with your multi-day pass, and the second lift is only 1% less jaw-dropping than the one at the Aiguille du Midi. You get a great view of Chamonix, and you get the best view of the glaciers of Le Mont Blanc sliding down the mountain's face. For context on how much snow there is up at these peaks, this was all filmed during the 3rd week of June. It's one of our favorite places to just sit back, relax, and take in the views. And if all this is not enough, the crown jewel up here is the cantilevered restaurant bar that dangles high above Chamonix that offers a terrace unlike anything else in the region. If you're gonna spend 10 euros on a beer, there's no place better to do it than here. Les Bossons Glacier is the largest in the park, as it is a direct cascade of ice coming from the peak of the Mont Blanc. And I cannot recommend enough getting up close and personal with it, but in order to do so, you're gonna have to put in some work. The only way to get to the base of the junction, where the glacier splits into two, is to hike. However, this hike is not easy. You do not need any special equipment, although I would not recommend going without 2 hiking poles. It's the 1,500 meters of vertical that is going to test your legs if you're not a seasoned hiker. Like, just look at this B-roll. Getting to the junction makes it all worthwhile, as experiencing this glacier from the base while looking up at the largest mountain in Europe is just truly amazing. Les Bossons Glacier is one of the fastest moving in the park, and it is actually sliding down the mountain at roughly 1 to 1.5 meters per day. Knowing this, it just makes it seem that much more crazy to see people skiing and hiking, knowing the ice is shifting just below their feet. Not only are the views of the glacier amazing, but up here you get a very different perspective of the Aiguille du Midi. You gotta plan a whole day around doing this hike, and all the extra effort to get up here will help you burn loads of calories so you can stuff your guts with raclette and fondue when getting back down to Chamonix. The jump-off point to all this fun is the city of Chamonix, and this alpine town is as much of a highlight as the mountains. Unlike most ski towns that are typically dead during the summer, Chamonix is equally busy year-round. The character and vibe of Chamonix is defined by the glacier-capped peaks of Le Mont Blanc that are easily 3 levels above anything else in Europe and are a magnet for the most experienced athletes in the world. This in turn means that Chamonix is literally littered in hiking, paragliding, ski and sports shops, so if you're in the market for the highest end gear, you will 100% find it in Chamonix. If you time your visit right, the Saturday market is an absolute must, but my favorite part of town is that they kept the heart of Chamonix a pedestrian-only zone, and this just makes the city that much more enjoyable without loud motorcycles and wet fart mufflers on souped-up Volkswagen Golfs. This next one is by far the most popular hike in the region, and a gondola assist is going to help you turn this hike into a half day instead of a full day. Using the Flégère gondola, you climb effortlessly up 900 meters. You can pay single entry, but once again, this is one of the reasons you gotta get that multi-day pass. From here, the hike begins with epic views of the valley, and it takes only 45 minutes to an hour and change to get your butt up to the lake. The day we went, this was our cloudy postcard view. Not entirely what was in the brochure, but the clouds did break up as these mountains can dramatically alter the movement of the weather, which in turn made the hike even better with all the movement of the clouds. If you're quiet, which can be difficult for humans like myself, you can often see ibex and get close enough to smell the marmot's sweaty boxing match. This next one is an absolute must, and you shouldn't wait too long to go see it. I don't need to tell you what's happening with glaciers around the world, so the sooner you can jump on a cogwheel train and head up to the Mer de Glace, the better. Just the train ride and the view of the valley makes this well worth the visit, but they are just the entree and the menu to your visit up to the Mer de Glace. After a bucket list train ride, it's a gondola that goes down into the valley, bringing you to the most unique destination on this list. From here, there's just a few stairs to conquer, and then voila, you're inside an ice cave in the middle of summer. Even as a Canadian, I ain't never been in no ice cave, and seeing the glacial history firsthand while being inside and under a shifting glacier is beyond humbling. And what I really did enjoy was the texture of the ice and just seeing the little bits of floating rock and wood trapped inside the ice that are moving along with the glacier. Let FOMO dictate going here, because under that white tarp is where the cave is. It's only a matter of time until visits here are no longer possible. For those looking to go big before they go home, mountaineering and paragliding are two activities that cannot be overlooked. Starting from an ice cave linking the Aiguille du Midi to the trail leading up to the peak of the Mont Blanc, there are countless reasons to come tick this off your bucket list. It's not Mount Everest busy, but there is a solid chunk of traffic because even less experienced climbers can hire a guide to help them summit Le Mont Blanc. Up and down the Alps, you'll find paragliding, but come on, we all know that bigger is better. A perfect place to do a tandem first flight, and a legendary place for those looking to fly as high as possible above the Mont Blanc. We even ran into what Faustin calls a real-life Inspector Gadget who had a motorized fan just like this guy. Most people who come here actually don't pay that much attention to the Mont Blanc itself, as it's not the most dramatic peak in the region, but I highly recommend taking the time to just sit and admire this snow-capped mountain, as it's the lifeblood for the entire park. European record holder aside, what's the most impressive is that this mountain is so high that even with a warming climate, there will still be ice and snow up here for many years to come. No matter what you choose to do in the region, it dominates the landscape for nearly every photo, and you gotta be a pretty grumpy person to tire of views like these. Last but not least is go to Italy. From the Aiguille du Midi, there is a connecting lift that you can take for an additional €41 round trip that will bring you to the Italian side of the Mont Blanc, or you can go through the tunnel that goes under the Mont Blanc from Chamonix to Courmayeur, which is perfect if you're like us and this is what a successful trip to Italy looks like. At the end of the day, none of this footage does any justice to portray how grand this mountain chain is. We've been up and down the French Alps, and it's not to say that other regions aren't mind-blowing, it's just that the Mont Blanc and its neighbors are by far the most. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you need an extra kick in the pants to go visit, always remember, adventures don't happen at home.